Next on The Dialogue, we meet a cartoonist and champion of free speech and mutual respect.
My name is Khalid Albaih. I am a Sudanese political cartoonist.
His work has been adopted by many as images that convey their struggles, which in turn has helped open up conversations on human rights throughout the world.
And every day I try to do something new. Every day I try to ask a question, start a conversation, because I don't want to let hope die, because we all have to work together.
Khalid's work has evolved over the past few years. He's become a global force for promoting art as a means of emancipation. Khalid, thanks so much for joining us. Now, you are Sudanese. You were born in Romania. You have lived a lot of your life in Qatar, and now you also live in Norway.
Yes.
Where would you say you're actually from?
I mean, I thought about that a lot, obviously, but you know, I really think the place where I spent most of my time is the internet. I'm there all the time. This is where my work is, and this is where I've learned and talked about a lot of things. And
your work has inspired millions throughout the world, from the Arab Spring to Colin Kaepernick taking the knee in support of Black Lives Matter. How does it feel to know that the art that you've created is now part of those movements?
I mean, I create the art to be part of it, you know? For me, it's about being part of these movements and showing solidarity, because I think this is, you know, really about showing the connections between all these movements that I've worked with, whether it's the Arab Spring, whether the Black Lives Matter movement, or the Rohingya, or for me, we're all fighting for one cause, which is injustice. So I really feel proud, and that's why I take these things personally, because I am part of it. We're all part of it.
You've said that freedom of speech is a great power, and with that power comes great responsibility. And you encourage people, don't you, to think about what they do with that great power?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, because for a long time, I kept thinking, can I do this? What would the effects have on me, on my friends, on my family? So when I moved to Europe and saw other cartoonists and how they deal with things, and that everything is just, you know, I can do whatever I want. But the question always becomes, what are you doing with it though? Are you building bridges with that power?
I think many people are scared to comment publicly these days, fearful of online trolls, the scrutiny that comes with cancel culture, for example, let alone the kind of persecution that you've experienced. How far does the pursuit of justice for others impact your own life, your family life, for example?
It's a very scary thing, and you know, you hear about it, but when you face it, you really start, you know, the question really comes to life. Was this worth it? I have a family, I have children, I need to make a living, and you really need to believe in what you're doing, and you really need to believe in asking questions and pushing the line and pushing the boundaries. And now, you know, you're not only facing government's restrictions, you're also facing things like, of course, like, you know, cancel culture. You're facing trolls, of course, that you need to also think about, and especially online, because it's just endless. It's all the time, and people online are more vicious because they hide behind the screen.
We've spoken about power. When did you first become aware of the power of cartoons?
I think since I was a child, I loved comics. And as a teenager, when I discovered political cartooning, and these worlds collided for me, and then I discovered my favorite cartoonists. I discovered Najil Ali, who was a Palestinian cartoonist that got assassinated in London. And his work totally changed my life because his work wasn't only about the joke. It wasn't only about how good the art is. It was about the idea.
Something else I know that is incredibly important to you is your work in Sudan, and in particular the Sudan Arts and Design Library. Can you tell us a bit about that project, how it works, and just why it means so much to you?
We started in 2017, and we were trying to do a book about the history and the future of Sudan. And the one thing was missing was references. And that started the idea of, why don't we do a proper library then? But it focuses on arts and design. And by the time I tried to convince people with that, it was basically COVID happened. So everything shut down. And then by the time people got convinced again, it was the coup. And then everything shut down in Sudan. And then we said, all right, we don't want a building, we're trying to make a mobile library because we're trying to reach people around Sudan. And then we had a full program of screenings and books and workshops and all of that. And we had a great team. And then the war happened, a day before we were supposed to start. So this is, I always tell this example because this is how hard it is for us to start anything that has to do with arts and culture in Sudan.
There's a lot of negativity reported in the world, isn't there? It's hard, I guess, at times not to get despondent. But do you also see hope? Are there things that you experience, that you see, that gives you hope about the future?
Actually, yes. Yes, I do. And even though it's very hard because, working in the news is you always see negative things, especially in social media, that you see a lot of, negative news just coming in, the replies. And then you find yourself that you're part of this cycle, right? But, once you step away from it and you realize that this is not what I'm supposed to do. So I'm supposed to discuss different things. I'm supposed to discuss it in a different way. And this is when you discover that, humans always found a way. The internet kind of was that way around it. And now it seems that it is the block and people are moving around it to see what is the best way to use it. How can we be, find ourselves again and get out of that filter bubble and get out of that vicious circle.
Khalid, thanks so much for inviting us into your world.
Thank you.
Joining us on the dialogue.
Thank you so much.